Why do you get angry when overcharged $1 at a coffee shop, but barely flinch when overcharged $200 buying a car? It's the same money, same currency, same real value, but your reaction is completely different. And there's a psychological law that explains exactly why. Understanding this law will change how you spend money forever, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let's start with something you've experienced 1,000 times. You're at a store. You buy something for $5. The cashier charges you $6. You notice immediately. You might even complain. That extra dollar feels significant. It feels wrong. Now imagine a different scenario. You're buying a car. The sticker price is $30,000. The salesman says there's an extra $200 in documentation fees. You sign without thinking twice. Same currency, same real value, but your emotional response is completely different. Why? Because your brain isn't a calculator. It's a measuring device, and the measurement changes based on what's around it. Over 100 years ago, a scientist named Ernst Weber conducted an experiment. He had people hold weights in their hands. Then he'd add more weight and ask, "Can you feel the difference?" Here's what he discovered. If you're holding 100 grams, you need to add about 3 grams before you notice a change. But if you're holding 1,000 grams, you need to add 30 grams to notice the same level of change. It's not about the absolute amount, it's about the ratio. 3 grams is 3% of 100. 30 grams is 3% of 1,000. The percentage stays the same. The perception stays the same. This principle applies to everything your senses experience. Light, sound, temperature, pain, and it absolutely applies to money. A candle in a dark room is obvious. A candle in sunlight is invisible. Same light, different context, different perception. Later, another scientist named Gustav Fechner formalized this into what's now called the Weber-Fechner law. It states that human perception of stimuli is logarithmic, not linear. Translation: the bigger the base number, the less you notice changes to it. This is the fundamental truth about how your brain processes value. And it's the reason you make the spending decisions you make. Now here's where it gets interesting. Businesses know this law, they understand it deeply, and they use it strategically to influence your spending. Let's talk about timing. When you buy a car, the salesman doesn't push upgrades at the beginning. He waits. He waits until you've committed. You've decided on the model, you've negotiated the price, you've emotionally invested in the purchase, then he starts. Premium leather seats? That's $800. Advanced sound system? Another $500. Navigation package? $300 more. Each upgrade feels small. $800 on a $30,000 purchase? That's less than 3%. Your brain barely registers it. But if that same salesman had offered you leather seats for $800 as a standalone product, your evaluation would be completely different. You sign without thinking twice. Same currency, same real value, but your emotional response is completely different. Why? Because your brain isn't a calculator. It's a measuring device, and the measurement changes based on what's around it. This same principle appears everywhere. Look at subscription services. They always offer 3 tiers: basic, standard, premium. The basic tier isn't there to sell basic subscriptions. It's there to make standard look reasonable. The premium tier isn't there to sell premium subscriptions. It's there to make standard look like the smart choice. They're architecting your perception, guiding you toward the middle option, which has the highest profit margin. And here's the subtle part. Discounts get advertised on cheap items. A 30% discount on a $20 item feels like a victory. You save $6. The percentage is huge, but hidden charges get attached to expensive purchases. An extra fee on a large transaction barely registers as a percentage. It's invisible in the context of the larger purchase. The strategy is consistent. Make small percentages feel big on low-value items. Make large absolute amounts feel small on high-value items. And it works, because your brain isn't a calculator. It's comparing percentages. It's measuring relative to context. Here's what most people miss. Your bank account doesn't care about percentages. Your bank account only cares about absolute values. $100 is $100. It doesn't matter if you spent it on a $5 item or a $5,000 item, the money is gone either way. But your brain treats it differently, and that difference costs you real money over time. Think about it. Over the course of a year, how many times do you add small charges to large purchases? $50 on a car purchase feels like nothing, but $50 is $50. It's a meal, it's a book, It's a month of a subscription service. The money is real. The impact is real. But your perception made it feel invisible. Once you understand this, you can protect yourself. 3 strategies. First, isolate your decisions. When someone suggests an upgrade or add-on, mentally separate it from the main purchase. Ask yourself, would I buy this at this price if it stood alone? Second, set your own anchors. Before you shop, decide your budget. When you see prices above your anchor, they all look expensive, regardless of what they're being compared to. Third, think in absolute values. A $5 upgrade might be 2% of a large purchase, but $5 is $5. What else could those $5 buy? The Weber-Fechner law reveals something fundamental. We don't live in an objective world. We live in a perceived world. Your brain is constantly measuring relative to context. Because now you know the truth. Perception isn't reality. Perception is just perception, and you have more control over it than you think.